want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Yeah, check system.
And in the red kitchen, William is prepared
I had it flipped out now.
Yeah, I know. You're still a member of your boy band now, are you?
I'm cool. I now have the appearance of a American.
A cool
person.
hipster. Are you now
So
a cool
I feel
hipster?
like this is appealing to the American audience that we may possibly.
A couple more tattoos, you'll be able to buy a rock.
I know. King Tilly will come and fit it for us.
Is that an ice bath behind you?
Oh, I love an ice bath, mate.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Get out! Right, here we go. Let's kick off. Here we go. Welcome to the episode number 56 of Chippy Tea podcast. What is the Chippy Tea podcast? I hear all three of you saying all at once. Hey, Tony, what is that Chippy Tea podcast thing? It is your chance to catch up and to eavesdrop and to join in on a video chat that happens regularly between me, Tony P from Pound Print Consultants, and
Danny Day from Flipper Sweet Print Company.
You are welcome to join us as we have a bit of a chat, a little bit of a technical delve, and a little bit of a slagging off of other people indirectly across the industry. They all know they are. And feel free to join in at any time. There are social channels on Instagram, social channels on YouTube, and I think we're on Spotify. If Danny remembers to upload it to Spotify.
We are
on Spotify.
I've uploaded it, sure if.
So you can join in at any point, and as we prattle on, really, about what we've been doing this week. So, without any further ado...
Oh, what fucking French, mate. You're right, Tony. I thought you'd been in America.
Europe, sort of Europe. So, yeah. Mr. Donald, what's that been doing this week, Caucus Badge?
What's I've been doing this week? Oh, I just got going, hasn't it? It's a Monday. So
all right, what were we doing last week?
What I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, in between episodes.
Yeah. Oh, in between episodes.
I've been printing t-shirts.
Well, that's new. You've not done that for a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to show and tells. You know what? I've been chipping away. I feel like I've either got a problem. I've either become quite productive, or I'm not getting as many orders as I should because I'm looking at me. I'm not sure which it is.
This is how we love data analysis.
Yeah.
Am I shit, or has the phone stopped ringing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my whiteboard now with all my jobs pinned up,
and
it were full board. And over this past couple of weeks, it's going. Now, I've got my new screen goblin on board, so I am churning print out quicker. Because I've got the screens.
I don't know. Did we cover that on here, or did we just cover that me and thee?
I don't know. I lose track, to be honest, which is which. But for those who are unaware of my current screen goblin situation, my bird's brother, there's his boyfriend, my bird's brother, is giving me an hand.
If you're from Cass, I can understand that.
They're usually conjoined to that, so...
You usually have to count the fingers so you know which family they're from.
Which way do your toes point? So yeah, he's coming down.
One day a week.
1 day a week, Monday nights, so tonight. And we just stay here till 10, 11. As long as it takes. And we blast out screens.
That's working for you?
That's working well. It's helping me out a lot. Is that amazing how a little bit of help can make a massive difference. So Monday's almost a write-off. It's a bit of a get your films ready, get through, catch up on weekends emails, any artworking that needs doing on my side. And obviously John does a lot of it, but every now and then. The a single, one or two colour stuff I tend to just do because I can. And then Monday night, it's a late one, late shift, get piss wet through, washing screens, and then Tuesday I can crack on. I've got all the screens at my disposal, and I'm just getting through stuff a lot quicker now. It's making a big difference.
I'm going to say, have you noticed a difference? Where do you notice a difference?
Being able
More
to
time on press.
More time on press. I'm printing more instead of printing a couple of days a week, 2 or 3 days a week. Instead, I've got this job to do, but I've not got the screens to do it. I've always got more than enough screens now, so I can pull the screens out, expose them, have them sat at the bottom of stairs, ready to just pull out to chuck on press as and when I go. And if there's any sort of mistakes, if I think, oh god, now I'm gonna have to reburn a screen, I want to make some adjustments. That's there as well. Now I've got that option.
Random on tangent question, like I do. How many screens do you think you should have?
Should have
one press, yeah.
No, it's not one press. I mean, I don't feel like the
your
number
press
of
that
presses.
you've got now. Do you know how many screens you've got on floor on the shop floor?
How many screens I should have?
How many have you got first?
60, 70. I've just ordered some more. I think 100's a good number for me. 100 screens. It's almost triple the amount I might need in a 1 week on average. Some weeks I need more. Let's just say I might use between 30 and 50 a week. And if there's a lot of high colour jobs, I'm going to be pushing that 50 number. But on average, maybe 30 odd. So I feel like if I've got 100, I've got 3 or 4 times more than what I'll probably need. So I can pull out a full week's worth of screens, expose them, and then there's already another week's sat waiting to expose. And then the washing, do you know what I mean? So it's just just make it a circle, a loop.
That's interesting.
I bet you'll have a formula, knowing you. You'll have a spreadsheet.
I'm coming up with one. Well, it's a question that I got asked this week, and I already had a number. Now my number was around about, not far off yours, between 100 and 150 per automatic press. Average 10 colour press.
Now,
so I think 150 is probably now a better number, and that's mainly because of the small order quantity.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's nothing to do with the jobs. It's not to do with how many colours in a job. It's to do with this higher turnover.
Yeah.
In that, I'm doing 10 orders a day. Now each order is a set of screens, and it might only be 100 shirts each. But I used to do 1,000 shirts and only use one set of screens.
Yeah.
So that number's going up and up and up, because I've just come from a place with 6 presses, and they had a fantastic spreadsheet which told them the location of that's when I've officially got too old, and it just felt me age then. Got this great spreadsheet, which told them how many screens of each mesh, where they were, how many times they've been restretched, how many imaged, and where they were in the process. And it was relatively easy to keep track of without using QR codes like our mate up in Canada, who has a different colour, and a different font and a different size for every label.
Bless him.
Bless him. I mean, I love a label, but Jesus wept, you make me look like a Neanderthal.
There's a place for everything, and everything has its place.
Yeah. So I think the number has got a lot higher lately, and with 6 presses, my formula of 150 per press, he needs 900, 600, 900 screens, and he's got 300, so he needs another 600.
And how much have you
work?
How much have you factored into? Have you factored it in like me, where I'm saying I need enough screens for a week's worth of work, but I also need enough screens already coated for a week's worth of work, as so almost like a ready to go.
Oh yeah, but on a lot faster cycle. So
Right.
we have, if you look back at some of my Instagram stuff, you'll see there's always a library. Now this working library is usually 100 screens in a working library. So that's coated screens ready to go.
Yeah.
Now if you're making 60 to 80 screens per day, you need to be replenishing that library to 60 or 80 per day. And that,
Yeah.
I would say that's my average customer is 2 presses. And that's probably what they do, between 60 and 80 screens a day, and half the day spent imaging and half the day spent refreshing, replacing, renewing the library of coated screens.
I think that's a little bit important. I think my problem starts when I've got full wax of scweens.
Full wax of screens.
I've got full wax of screens.
So cute.
And then I expose them all, and then the rack sits empty. If I can replace them instantly, I need my full wax of screens. When I've reimaged them, they need to be replaced instantly. And if I can keep that cycle going, no problem. I can get so much work done.
Yeah.
But when you've got empty racks, that's when problem starts.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, obviously, on a bigger scale, different shops. Is it the same sort of theory? Do you go to shops where they have 1,000 screens, they use 1,000 screens, and then it's a 2-day downtime, filling it back up, or is it a constant cycle? So 1,000 screens are replaced by 1,000 screens ready to go.
80% are a constant cycle. Do you know how many screens merch shops have on the floor?
Merch shops are so efficient that I won't be shocked if it's a surprisingly low number.
So they've got 1,500 sat there doing nothing.
Fuck off. Okay, now. That's crackers. And I bet there's not a single one with a spot of ink.
No, they're all fucking spotless, mate. They're like new.
What a dream.
But that's the ability to react.
Yeah.
So they're almost in mothballed with the ability to react. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 presses, maybe using 2. When it goes to 4, there's no possible way they'll ever stop and wait for screens. So, but it's a cost. What, 30 quid a screen?
Yeah. Yeah, about 30
quid
more nowadays,
a screen, then we're looking at, a 30 grand investment.
It's important, though, isn't it?
Just in case. But you can't print without screens. You can't print without squeegees. You can't print without screens. And I still got on my arse a little bit. I'm still shocked and annoyed by the people who think they can save money in the wrong place. Saving money on screens. And we'll save that. We'll put a patch over that. What the fuck are you doing? Stop putting a patch over it. Replace it.
The amount of times I see what I would consider admirable, reputable screen printers, and you just get a glimpse at some screens, and you're like, have you got so far and you can't wash a screen? You just clean your fucking screens, for God's sake.
It's an important part. I think, if we take I often zoom out when I'm doing stuff. If we zoom out and have a look over, I'm quite fortunate. I can look back over the last 450 years. I'm that old. We can see
when we were printing through fucking leaves and stuff.
Drawing with chalk. Yeah. We can see that we've been through a squeeze of labour, and it's not a political statement. We've been through a squeeze where I can remember being on a print machine and them saying to me, we've got you this guy, and this little fresh-faced 17-year-old that's being like, I don't want him. What do I want him for? I mean, to teach him what to do. He'll just stand around like a spare prick at a wedding. What do I want him for? I don't want him. Yeah, but you're going to teach him, and we're going to overstaff for a little bit, and overstaff. And that way, when we want to grow and expand, we'll be good. And now, as on the shop floor, I'm thinking, what a crazy idea. What a waste of money. Give me both. Give me twice the money and I'll do the work. But it seemed like our middle managers, if you like, understood the importance of overstaffing. And I go to places where overstaffing is huge, but usually the wage is very low.
Yeah.
And then we seem to go to a point where cut back. And my team of 5 on an auto press is now 3. And sometimes 1. So I've got a team of 1 on an auto press. And I'm like, this don't work for me at all. It don't work. I think now we're coming back to let's employ more staff. Let's first of all charge more money for what we do so we can employ more staff.
Yeah, that's the most
I
important
think we went through a little window, a little stage where everybody were printing for this side of fuck all. And it meant that you could only employ 2 people on press, which everything went into a box, or you've got an auto machine that takes off, that don't look at stuff when it's pulling shirts. And it's counterproductive.
Yeah, there's a you can scale. The more you cutbacks at one. Obviously, there's room for being frugal, but there's a point at where cutbacks are counterproductive. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, you're actually just costing yourself even more money. Having a skeleton team on in an auto shop, you're just slowing the entire process down. You're reducing the amount of eyes on the product to quality control, and at a point, you're just going to end up costing yourself even more money. I understand that wages have got so high from an employer point of view. It's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it?
That's what it is.
You know me, I'm shit scared of employing people nowadays because it's so expensive.
It is so expensive. And you need 3, 4, 5, 6. Everybody's looking for a reduction in manpower. And it only happens when I see that manpower is so cheap. By cheap, I mean like less than £5 an hour. That we see more people on press. And
that's interesting.
One of the things that's just sort of triggered this little rant was about an hour ago on Instagram. Magna posted something. Very, very, very good little video on how to print a multicolour job using Aquaflex V2. Melvin, Paul and Teresa giving a good explanation.
With the nice gigs on?
They did dry every colour, but we'll let that pass.
Did you actually? I don't actually.
If you look at it, they're only printing 1 colour at a time, but anyway. We'll slide over that. just for video purposes only.
Yeah.
But what she just mentioned something that was ink management on press. Now we're so used to plastisol. Plastisol on a long run through a high mesh count doesn't need any ink management at all.
No.
Throw the fucker in there. Yeah, throw that fucker in there, and every 2 hours, ask your mate who's walking past with a Rizzler hanging off his bottom lip on his way for a shit. Say, just throw that ink over for me, and it'll last another 2 hours. And I think we've got used to that, which means that I don't need 4 people on a press now. Certainly don't need 5 people on a press, because the guy who's loading, when he runs his stack down of 144, while one person's getting some more shirts out, he can turn his ink over and off we go again.
Yeah.
And like I say, throwing it back, ink management was huge. You had to keep turning that ink over. You had to keep watering it down. You had to keep monitoring its viscosity. You had to keep washing it, wiping it, even straining it on press. All these things that we had to do that we seem to have cut out because we don't have the people anymore. And I think it's making the job harder.
That's an interesting point of view as well, that a water-based shop is going to need more manpower.
Yeah.
Which I've never really thought about.
But we try not to. We try and do it as a plastisol job. I famously quote the guy who I introduced water-based to, and he said, "What should I charge for it?" So I just charge the same. The customer don't care if it's what, Obviously, if the customer's requesting it, you can put a little bit of a premium on, say 10, 15%. He went, "I'm going to double it." You can't double it, for fuck's sake. That's crazy. So you'll lose your customers. No, I'm going to double it. So, well, how do you justify doubling it? The ink's actually cheaper to buy than plastisol. So, you've got a saving there. It's a little bit more difficult to run, but with some training, you'll get there. So in theory, it shouldn't take any longer. He said, well, am I going to run slower with this water-based? Well, you probably have to double stroke. It likes a double stroke, to start with. 1 stroke's not quite enough. And again, in this video, Teresa sort of like mentioned the fact that the first stroke mats down, the second stroke puts a good surface down.
Oh, right, she did mention that. I'll have to watch it properly.
Yeah. So a double stroke, more ink management, probably an extra person, time to wash up, time to clean up. Yeah, actually, it is going to be. It is going to be more expensive to run a water-based job than a plastisol job, despite the fact that the water-based ink is cheaper. Then I go and have a look at the prices and realise that
it ain't.
Well, the original print onto white T-shirts with a soft feel, no solids about it, what you might call low solids, is fucking damn sight cheaper to maybe 20% of the cost of plastisol. But you have to mix it yourself, you have to do everything yourself, and it has no opacity. And we get up to the specialists, the high solids like the V2s. It is probably on a par with plastisol. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm saying rightly so. Ready to use white out the tub, 10 a litre. Fair enough. Okay.
You get what you pay for, don't you?
That's what it costs. That's what it costs. It's good enough to use. I've got no problem with it. But as a pricing point of view, am I going to get 3,000 a day of the same job out of a plastisol and a water based? Probably, but my guy, what the fuck's going on behind you?
Oh, I'm doing my head in. Try to concentrate and focus on this episode. I've got fluffing bodies getting chucked in skips.
Bodies in skips.
Doing my head in. They've just gone. I thought, that's it, be quiet now.
Back, haven't they?
Now we're filling buggers up. I'm going to have to close this window. I'm hoping it's not going to pick it up. I don't think
I don't think it'll pick it up. Yeah,
so... It's throwing me off.
That was a little rant. Sorry, I interrupted you. What have you been doing this week with a little rant?
I mean, anyway, I've not to tell you.
Which started on screens and ended up on water-based ink for some reason.
I've got an interesting tangent.
Tangent?
Can't speak at all
It's
today,
it's like a tip and a tangent.
It is, aye. We're talking about, you're sort of touching on pricing and how shops have to adapt to pricing to if you're printing water-based, etc., how many people you've got on press. I had this thought about 3 weeks ago, so it's not very fresh in my head, so I'm sort of just hoping I remember it as I speak right now.
You're filling at a minute. You're filling while your brain catches up, aren't you?
And so I had this idea of a print shop union /
cartel.
Yeah, cartel.
I think we should have a cartel. I think if we all, this has been said many, many, many times, specifically inside Leicester's postcode. Inside Leicester, if they don't realise that if all of them sat together, which most of them are within about 6 families anyway, and if they all sat together and said, look, let's agree not one single one of us prints for under £1 a print.
This is where I'm going.
Done. Finished. Deal. If we break the deal, we come round, we chop off your fingers, you sleep with a horse's head, all that shit. We feed you to the fishes. But the nature of people in general is that, I know we all agreed £1, but if I can do this for 90p, I'll get this job.
And
then we've got this race to
snowballs. And it's not just
that's where we are now.
Circle.
That's exactly where we are.
It's
industry-wide.
It happens everywhere. Every industry's got the exact same problem. But the thing that gets me thinking is, you can drive around town and you'll see plumbing vans, electricians, and they've all got certifications. And you know that if you need a plumber, one of the things that sells that particular plumber to you is if it's got like a corgi logo or whatever,
Yeah, gas registered.
Yeah, and with the various print chat groups and talking to people and conversations we've had, it's been a topic recently about pricing. And as a personal, as a print shop myself and other print shops, it's an hard thing to do. It's an hard thing to work out your prices.
This is free market economy, though, isn't it? This is the whole point of living in a free market economy, in that there should be no recommended limited prices. There should be no upper limit, no lower limit. You're free to. Well, is it the equilibrium price when demand and supply and finding that equilibrium price? It should be free for all. But
yeah,
the thing is, somebody working out of the mum and dad's back garden he's got completely different overheads to someone who has a £10 million shop that they've just built.
Well, this is the difficult part of it. But to me, I thought, what if you could get a group of reputable print shop owners?
Well, that's your fucking first stumbling block.
I suppose you're right there. I suppose you're right. A reputable, straight above board, nothing underhand.
You fucked, mate. You've got no chance.
Hell,
Have
never
you seen
mind.
screen printers? You can't lie in bed straight.
But there was some sort of guideline, something where certain things are acceptable and are commended, and if your shop ticks those boxes, well, you can be a Danny Donald screen prints.
It's like almost being audited. You've been audited to a certain level. Yeah, but that's what we got 9001
like prices,
for, or whatever it was, ISO.
And you can't undercut by, your price range has to be no lower than this or whatever. And then that just gets everybody not on a level playing field, because we're all, like you say, who's anybody to tell anybody what to set the prices at? But as a guideline, and if you want this seal of approval that puts you out there as a reputable printer who follows ethical guidelines business-wise, I'm not saying you all have to be water-based printers. You know what I mean? And it was just an idea anyway.
No, I know what you mean. I know where you're going with it, and it'd be great. But we've got to look around at the world we live in, and people just aren't like that. People want to win as much work as possible without being what I call a busy fool. The busy fool is someone who just has to keep working just to pay the bills. But the only way we can really separate ourselves is offering something either special or unique to us, which is the service that we give, the sizzle, not the sausage.
Sizzle, not the sausage. I fucking love that one.
It stuck with me as that. I think you told me it's proper stuck with me. But yeah, when we look at pricing, most of us worked as pricing out between 5 and 10 years ago, when the average wage was £6-7 an hour. The rent was relatively low. Inflation was relatively low. The cost of shirts and inks hadn't gone up by 25% a year.
No.
And all these things have an effect. Interest rates. So the cost of buying the machinery even was 6% lower 5 years ago than it is now. And all these things, we have a ceiling, a limit, an upper branch of how much we can produce in a day. No matter how good we are, no matter how efficient we are, there is an upper ceiling. And the only way we're going to cover all those costs and make some money to buy a yacht in the Bahamas is to work out, what's a fair reflection of my day's work? Because it's going to cost me 3 guys all working for £100 a day. That's £300. If I only print 300 shirts, I have to charge £1 a shirt just to cover labour. Then I haven't paid for anything else. So it gets really, really... I think the industry itself has been undervalued for a good 20 years. And would you an upgrade?
But it's it's going to be a difficult thing to achieve, because how can you reverse the damage that's been done? Because there's always going to be a group of people that will
print for fuck all.
Print for fuck all.
Yeah.
And how can you... net labels is a perfect example. £1. It's almost standard. It's going to be between £1 and £1.50, unless you're ordering in quantity or you're ordering contract. You're going to, as a generic flat rate, you're going to be paying £1, £1.50. But that's not fair price. No way is that enough. Because in theory, unless you if you're automating it or whatever,
well,
there's ways to cut it down.
A little Aspie and one person can probably get 600 to 800 of those an hour done.
Yeah. So in that case, it's not too bad. But you know what I mean? As a generic. But
if you're putting them on your press, you've got to make a screen for each size, and you've got to move that screen around, and then you've got to pull the squeegee and turn your shirts and do all that shit. Then it gets more expensive. But is that you that's inefficient, or is that the price that's bad?
Bit both, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a balance.
Bit both.
It's trying to find a balance, yeah.
Anyway, So all I'm proposing is that we have a little logo, and all the reputable shops say whatever this logo is
Duck.
registered.
It should be a duck.
And it's not a.
It should be a duck.
It's not. Yeah, we'll make it. The logo can be a duck for Tony's pleasure.
And have you got a ducky badge? If you've got a ducky badge, then
that
you know
makes
you're
sense.
reputable.
It's me. I've just
It
triggered
was
it.
you,
It's
yeah.
great.
It was you, yeah.
Ducky's Hall of Mage screen printers who are right good and follow these guidelines. 10 Commandments. Must not be a tight bastard and constantly undercutting. Tick. And if you meet those requirements, you may use my badge on your Instagram and your website. And it means fuck all in grand scheme of things. But if there's enough reputable printers who adopt it and become a part of the community, the customers and the outer, they'll look at it, and whether they know or not, it just looks. It adds a certain amount of value to your reputation just by subconscious. You know what I mean? Like if I see a plumber driving about with a logo, I ain't got a fucking clue what it means, but I'm still going to phone him and use him. And as a result, a wider array of screen print shops are held accountable to a fairer pricing scheme and certain requirements, which can only benefit the entire print world.
I think it's unachievable, but I like the idea. So I'm not going to poo-poo your idea of some sort of certification, sort of Ducky's International Corporation Society, or DICS for short.
Dick certified.
I like the idea.
Real quick. I do really fast. That I'm really impressed how quick he came up with that.
I like the idea. But like I say, it's trusting people to actually stick to it.
Anyway, that'll be going live next week. It's about £1,000 joining fee, but you do get.
It's cheaper than Vespa.
Yeah, true. Oh, dear me. Anyway, an idea. So we've had a chunky break. Not on purpose. We're just struggling to make timings align at the moment. So I feel like we've got a little bit to catch up on. I think the first thing I should say, because this is incredibly inspiring, is well done on your run, you mad bastard. I can't believe you fucking did it. Well, I can believe it. I can totally believe it. I had every faith in you, but
because I'm a stubborn little fucker, yeah.
What an achievement. That's genuinely, though, I mean, like, to have this idea in your head, considering you'd not really been running at all for a little while.
Overweight,
to just,
unfit,
short space,
ex-smoker, 52-year-old, all those things. Nothing were going for me, everything going against me, but fuck it.
Just pure determination.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
Super inspirational.
Pure determination. Stubborn little bastard. Telling himself not to stop. 50 miles, completed. Done it. Done it, mate.
Was it a breeze?
No, it's the hardest thing I've ever fucking done.
Yeah, genuinely, hardest thing ever.
It were... one of the dilemmas was I was running with someone, and the dilemma is, do I hold him up? Because I knew he was faster than me. I knew he could do this in about 8 hours, and I'm aiming for 12. So that was the dilemma: is what do I do? Do I let him go? Because he said he's only doing it to help me. If he's doing it to help me, he's got to walk when I walk, run when I run.
Yeah,
and that was a bit of a dilemma for me. But other than that, 50 miles. So the temperature where we were running, a couple of friends of ours had got there earlier and said, temperature's a bit high, Tony. It's a bit high. Where we were, the temperature was supposed to be around about 22. So, well, it's 36. It's what? It's 36. Is it going to be 36 on Sunday when we run? A long-term forecast is saying 36. It's going to be 36 all the time. It's about 98, 95 degrees.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm going to die. I'm just going to die. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then we looked at the weather forecast on the Saturday and we're running on the Sunday, and it said 20 degrees. From 36 to 20. For how long? just for Sunday, just for that day. I'm like,
Oh,
somebody
thank
somewhere is
Yeah.
looking out for me. So the temperature dropped like 15 degrees in one day, and it's just for that day. The sun was still shining, but it was quite mild. It was a little bit overcast in the trail, and without a doubt, I probably wouldn't have done it without it dropping temperature like it did. So
that's amazing, isn't it? Amazing how that's just
everything just
fallen
lined
into
up. It was
place.
just one of those things. It just lined up for me, and off we go. I mean, we've got one of our viewers, one of our three, that does this regularly, Ewan, and
You what?
Christ knows how he does it. Absolutely no idea how he does it.
Mad.
He does it for fun. Because he's just done another 50-kilometre one. I'm like, why do you do that? So we got the question now. The dilemma is, do I keep running or not? And it's 2 weeks yesterday. I haven't run a step.
Really? Now, but is that 2 weeks because you literally probably couldn't run a step?
Yeah, my legs hurt.
You're dead.
I've got.
You're now in a wheelchair.
I've got stress fractures. Yeah, I've had them amputated. Yeah, they're getting posted to me.
I just don't want to take any chances. I'm cutting the bastards off.
So I have got some stress fractures on my legs, which stop me from running. Yeah,
That's a bit worse than shin splints.
Just a little bit, yeah. They were painful. So it makes sense to not run for 2 weeks, which was the plan. I was going to run today. Thought, fuck it, I had a baked sandwich instead.
Not blaming you. You've essentially broke your legs. That's crazy.
Yeah, stress fractures on the bones, on both bones.
That's crazy.
So,
but did this happen like halfway? I mean, I'm sure it was like an accumulation.
About 15 miles from end, I reckon. So I still got 30% to go. Yeah. I changed my shoes at 27 miles. I put a different pair of shoes on, see if it could alleviate it a bit, which it did. We just moved it to another place.
Yeah,
so
shifted it.
It's one of those things, while you're doing it, you just ignore it, don't you? You just don't listen to it. It's afterwards when you're trying to walk across an airport, trying to catch a plane that's 10 minutes away, and you're like, got to walk fast, and you're like, nope, fuck it, let it go, don't care.
Yeah, I'd sooner miss it.
Yeah.
Jesus. So, after that experience, the whole build up to it, etc., do you feel like you've learnt anything? Is there anything that you can take away from that that's going to make you a better person, or that you can apply to the rest of your life or your working life or anything at all?
Applying to the rest of my life or working life, it's the long-term goal. So I do love a 5-year plan, but it's a fluid sort of. It's quite.
It adapts as you go.
Well, it's got a quite wide window to aim for. And it's something that I want to happen, but it will happen with lots and lots of small little things that are insignificant if you miss one. This training thing's number one, set by someone else.
Yeah.
That was the key. It was set by someone else. I had a running trainer, and she would plan my week for the next week, which, hats off to her when I keep telling her that, oh yeah, I'm actually I'm in South America this week, or I'm in Romania this week, or oh yeah, I'm at home this week. And she would plan my runs according to where I was and my training status, take all the data off my running watch and just give me a plan. And sticking to that plan, I really enjoyed it for a full year. It was a year of sticking to a plan. And I don't know, I can't work out whether it's because it was someone else's plan or because it's the first time in my life I've had this concrete goal that I must achieve by passing at least 50 checkpoints to get to this goal. Couldn't miss any. I couldn't go straight from a 2-mile run to a 30-mile run. I had to go to the 2, to the 5, to the 6, to the 8, to the 9, to the 10, to the 12, and then eventually I run the 30. As far as a life lesson's concerned, I loved that idea, and I want to try and incorporate something back into my life that's maybe not fucking running. But has this goal.
Yeah, that has goals, that has little tick boxes, and has accountability. Someone at the end who was going to say, I can't believe you just missed that day. You know what I mean? Somebody will hold it against you and keep you honest and in check.
It wasn't negotiable. My runs were not negotiable.
No.
I didn't want to go for some of them. I couldn't go for some of them. You know, some of them were in 4 foot of snow. What the fuck am I going to do? All right, I'm going to have to go on a treadmill for 2
Go find
hours.
the gym, yeah.
Who wants to do
So
that?
I've got the exact same thing.
With your weightlifting.
It's not going to focus now, but I tried to tap then to focus it. Am I a dick or what?
Yeah. Is this your
But anyway, yeah, weight training basically. Exact same thing.
Yeah.
Got a strong man mate of mine who's put me together a plan. At the minute, I'm on a 6 to 8 week conditioning plan, which means at the end of it, I'm doing a lot of sprint work on like ski urges and rowing machines, still lifting and stuff. But
Are
I'm
we going
doing
for a run? Is
lots
that what you're saying? Are we going for a run together?
You can fucking kiss my ass. If it's a 30-second run, followed by a 5-minute break, 30-second run, I'm all right with that. I'm fast as fuck, but any type of distance, I'm just not built for it. But anyway, it's the same sort of thing, and it's a nice feeling, isn't it? Because there's an accountability. There's no room for, you know what, I've just overworked today. I'm just going to skip it.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be that takeaway, sitting veg.
when you see the results from a expert, somebody who knows and somebody who can direct you, the results are tangible. You can feel it. I'm not just going in, making it up in my head and plateauing. I'm seeing results now. It's great. So can we print this? Can we apply this to the print world? And
yeah,
what
hire
if
hire a consultant? He'll give you a plan.
But no, but let's
Stick
just
to
say,
the plan.
let's just say, obviously you provide screen print consulting, and you will come to your shop, the listeners or whoever's shop, and you will do let's call it an intensive constructive criticism and a breakdown of goals, etc., that you should achieve. But what if it was something like an online coaching where you set marginal, maybe you go do an intensive unit and then you provide marginal goals every week and you update it and you say, right, and you adapt it and change it along, somewhat along the lines of a personal trainer's coaching app, a print world app, where it's like, right, we're going to get your business to a much more successful and much more efficient
There's a guy in
place.
the US does this.
Oh, there is?
There's a guy
Is
in
it
the
Marshall?
US, Ryan Kasparian.
Yeah, I know who he is.
I think it's Ryan.
Bit of a character.
Mark, is it Ryan? I think it is. Yeah.
It is
Covered
Ryan.
in ink. Covered in ink. I'm sure that's him.
Yeah.
And he writes apps.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know
He
that.
writes an app, and I love your idea. It's a great idea, and it would work. The key to my plan, and probably the key to your plan, the key to mine is this. It records all the metrics for me.
Yeah.
So that's easy.
Yeah.
And it's about having this system. You can't improve what you can't measure. If you don't measure it and give it a number, then you can't give it a target or a predicted number to be at in 3 months' time. So that's the hard bit in what we do, is often the fact of recording the metric takes longer than performing the fucking task. And that's the difficult bit.
Could almost have a weekly form that it's up to the shop owner to copy and because everybody's got their own different systems of recording data. People use Monday, Zero accounting software, etc. So it's going to be impossible. You're not going to have a piece of software that can react with all of them. But you could have a standard form page, a check-in page once a week. Check in with me. I want to know how many shirts you've printed, how many screens you've used, how many are still shat in rack. Can't speak today, can I? Throw joke for me.
I think it's scween whack.
How much? What's your turnover this week, etc. Bit scween whack. How many squeens you got? Shattered whack.
For anybody listening, this is normal.
I need
Yorkshire.
a linguistic coach. That's what I need. We'll have to start seeing that speech therapist again. Oh, God.
Fucking hell, did you keep receipt?
I think my parents got a refund. Yeah, dear. Gosh. Anyway, I
Yeah,
can't
it's,
remember what
it's
we're
getting
talking
the
about.
data. I love the fact that you can do that. It's getting somebody to get the data. This place had a great little system of because if you asked me where I've been last week, I'd have told you. But
I'm
you've not
moving
asked
on
me.
to that.
So,
Don't get all on your
this
ice
place had
about
a
it. Coming on to
barcode
it.
scanner, and the
Oh,
barcode
right,
scanner
yeah.
worked really, really well actually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
those
like
little guns
that
for
bit.
about $5 off Amazon, can't you?
Yeah, next amount. Yeah.
Pretend you're in Tesco doing your weekly shop.
Don't. Do you know? There comes a time in your life you're
Straighten up,
okay.
Tony.
You're
Just a bit of
okay
fun.
yet. No, you're okay because you're still relatively young. I'm of an age now where I'm going to fucking moan about everything. But my latest pet peeve, nothing to do with screen print at all, is who the fuck came up with the idea of self-scanning a supermarket?
Yeah, but a pain in the ass. Because we don't work, do
Who
we?
thought it doesn't work? Who thought
No.
this was a good idea? Because
And
it's not too bad in England. You know, in America, they've got a guy who works just on the door asking for your receipt, and he checks your shopping.
Fucking, you're kidding.
And I'm like, well, hang on, I didn't ask to be an employee here. You gave me a task. If you don't trust me to perform the task, get someone else to do it. Do you know what I mean? You trusted me to scan my own stuff. I'm an employee. If you don't trust your employees, don't ask me to perform this task. It just so annoyed me. It was only because I was in the supermarket yesterday. And every single thing I scanned went, there's an item in the bagging trolley. Unexpected item on the scale. Unexpected
the real idea
item.
is to cut the amount of staff members you have to employ. But then we have to babysit them, and that staff member will always look stressed, running back and forth at bleeding red lights. Yeah. I know, you're sort of just defeating an object, aren't you?
I don't care about your costs. I want a service. I want to go into the supermarket.
That's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I want to go to the supermarket. It's bad enough I pick my own stuff off the shelf. Now I've got to pick my own stuff off the shelf, and I want you to scan it for me. I want you to tell me how much it is, because I'm going to scan one, miss one, scan one, miss one, scan one, miss one.
I was once walking out the supermarket. I can't remember which particular supermarket it was, but it's not important to the story. And I realised I've been followed by a security guard. I'm getting a bit annoyed by it. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because he obviously thought I looked dodgy, which is insulting in itself. But anyway, I got a bit annoyed, and I got halfway around doing my shopping. I turned around and said, look, if you're going to follow me, at least fucking hold my basket. And anyway, he walked off. But it's annoying, isn't it?
Going to push trolley.
Yeah, at least chuffing carrying me shopping for me. Honestly. And then I once actually walked into Erin, this wasn't that long ago, and I've noticed a theme. So when I walk into Erin about 8:30 in the morning, so nice and early.
They lock the door.
they lock the shop, it's like, it's coming. They play a message on tannoy, and it's something along the lines of, shoplifting will not be tolerated. This shop is camera monitored. And I've sort of triggered.
Only play as you walk in.
Yeah. I've noticed it often. Like, why is it just a coincidence that this message comes on every time I just so happen to be in shop for 2 minutes? Like, I'm in there all the time. You would think they would have realised I'm not nicking. Anyway, I've just got that look, haven't I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right, well, before we move on to where have you been, can I go for a wee?
Yeah.
Is that acceptable? Because it's coming out. I'm not going to lie.
I'll go get a drink. I'll get some blackcurrant to put in my Guinness.
Right, I've finished picking my nose.
Are we done now?
And then we can resume the episode. Just wipe that bogey on my desk.
Save it for later. It's full of spray tack and that.
Got to get your protein in, haven't you?
Stanley Stella.
Right, compose yourself, Tony, lad. Let's get serious.
Right, let's go.
So, where you been? Right, you've been away for a couple of weeks, and I feel like you've been to 2 places, haven't you? So let's start at the beginning. How was the back end of the USA tour?
So,
apart from the run,
what did I do? Finished my run, and I had a week to myself.
Right, yeah. So you had a bit of an holiday.
Yeah. It's never an holiday, is it? But so I went to New York City.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not a city person at all.
Yeah.
I'm much rather beach, mountain, anywhere else, anywhere other than a city, and I can't think of a worse city to go to than the busiest one in the world.
The busiest city on planet. Yeah. Makes sense.
But no, my mind's changed. I
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, and I'd probably go back. Yeah, I would probably go back. Yeah, to see some more. But it's not the city. It's just so I'm fascinated with people. You know, I can sit in a coffee shop, watch people all day long.
People watch,
and the sort of people you see in New York are completely.
I mean,
it's the spectrum's huge. Did enjoy it. Did a few touristy bits. Turned into a tourist for a few days. It turned out to be like 3 days. But
did you sample the local delicacies? Pizza? I don't know. What are you? Pizza, hot dogs? I guess that's what
there's only really England don't do food well.
Is that right?
Yeah, everywhere else does food well. England just, we get a lot of things right, but food we fuck up royally.
Yeah.
So, steaks and anything in America is good. Really.
Good.
Food-wise, it's fantastic. So then...
what else?
Came back from there, had a day and a half at home, and then got on a plane to Romania.
You poor bugger. Jack will have been fucking fuming. You've only just got here and you're packing your bags again.
It bites me. I think somebody's breaking in.
Fix it, postman or something.
So, straight off to Romania. Shop visit there that I've not been before. On a recommendation as well, so it's always a welcome recommendation.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And we had... Say hello.
Easy, hello. Hey up, Jack.
He looks totally disappointed. Bye.
It's like just avoiding camera.
Yeah. So, it's a 6 auto shop in Romania. All M&Rs. A few bits of automation in there. Good place. Busy. And they needed some steering. Just guiding in the right directions.
Yeah,
it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult when you're so busy. Sometimes you don't see what's going on. So a fresh pair of eyes, it's always good. And an unbiased opinion on. But I'm not tied. People think I'm an MHM guy. I'm not actually tied physically or financially to any sort of manufacturer. So
no,
I can give what you might call an unbiased opinion across all the manufacturers, because contrary to what some people believe, I am actually printing every day. I have spent the last 30 years printing. There's still plastisol underneath those fingernails, look, somewhere.
I'm going to say, if anybody served an apprenticeship, I'm pretty sure it's you.
And I still print. I don't sit back and go, right, okay, well, when I were a lad back in 1960s, we used to do this. No. Still printing every day.
What a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, still getting on the press, still printing. Using a rock, using an Anatole, using an MHM, an M&R, across the board. And so I can really tell you, without having a dog in the fight, which is the best for you.
Yeah.
It's an unbiased opinion. Because believe it or not, most machines do the same thing, but if you only listen to the salesman, you're not going to get an unbiased opinion.
No.
And that could be the screen cleaner. It could be the image maker, the developer. It could be the actual press. It could be any of those things. Luckily, I've been exposed to them all over the last 30 years. So I can give you an opinion based on your shop. If I go to a shop where they're printing 30 to 40,000 pieces every run, then a machine that makes setup easier take a long time to get the return on investment. But if I go to a shop that's average order pieces 60 pieces and average colour count's 8, then I'm going to advise them differently on a piece of equipment that concentrates on the downtime rather than the uptime. And unless you've physically used an automatic machine, I have used a manual as well, but unless you've actually physically used an automatic machine, you're not really classified as a printer. You're just sort of like a crafty artist person.
I know what you're saying there. A little bit of me as well, actually.
No, I wonder you. I changed it when I saw that little tear forming in your eye. So yeah,
I've been looking at
spent the week in Romania. Never been there before. Really nice
How was it?
place. Really nice place. Really lovely people. Really friendly. Lots of English speaking. So yeah,
What?
definitely going to go back.
When I think of Romania, I think of Dracula. Is that
Oh.
right? Have
I
I
was
just made that up in my
I
head?
was in Transylvania.
Oh, so there is a connection. I'm not
Yeah, I
just
was in
making stuff up.
Transylvania. So
Wow.
said, look, if you've got time, we'll go see the castle and stuff. I'm like, really? I want to go now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's in
I thought that was
Transylvania.
Whitby.
Yeah, there's a big
If it-
goth Dracula thing in Whitby, isn't there?
Well, there's a Dracula connection in Whitby. I think maybe apparently he came over here or something.
Yeah, landed there, yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
According to Mary
Landed
Shelley.
with his cape.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So this six press auto shop, were they in a particular industry, or was it just a generic print shop printing for anybody who knocks on the door?
A little bit of
Not sure, looking
promo,
to
a little bit
myself.
of merchandise. Promo and merchandise. So if you might want to say at the lower end. But a little bit of retail as well.
Right. Right.
Two 18 colour presses. So 1820s. Big
Good gosh.
beastly things, yeah.
My word.
A couple of 12s and a couple of 8s. So they're really, big old presses, M&Rs, Challengers, Sportsmans, and a gauntlet.
And are they running on a skeleton crew, or are they running, are they employing a reasonable amount of employees?
Staff. I don't think they had enough staff to run all 6 at once.
Right.
But
so this goes back to Chris Congo.
Yeah, this is what's prompted it. But some of that's from holidays as well. No matter how many people you employ, there'll always be 10% away on holiday at any given time. Or sick,
illness,
or
pregnancies,
have an headache, or ingrowing toenail, or got a note from the man that says they don't have to come in today. Whatever it is.
Can't avoid it, can you?
No.
Part of it. And this print shop, was there a particular issue? Was there? Did you get turned through? Did you walk through doors and said, "Yeah, Tony, we're printing this today"?
A lot of good stuff. A lot of high quality stuff. They struggled with 2 things. They struggled with sweatshirts, and now everybody struggles with sweatshirts. You could say
sweatshirts are a bitch, aren't
they? The sweatshirts are horrible because they're a big, thick, horrible, heat-sensitive fabric to print on. So let's call it a difficult fabric. Yeah. But some of the issues were glue-related and heat-related. So only using one type of misting spray adhesive is just not going to hold these sweats.
No.
And then over-flashing, overheating. So they don't have the correct glue or adhesive to hold down this difficult fabric. They have like a mist spray, which is good, and it's great for teas, and it's great for long runs, and it's tuned to high flash. But it's not a web tack, and they're not using a normal glue. They're not really up to speed on the flashes. Everything's over-flashed, over-printed and over-flashed. Your typical M&R printer will use excessive force. It's like a drunken bouncer. Yeah, it's not supposed to use excessive force, but it does.
Right. Not a good one, that.
So yeah, they are built really well. They've got a really powerful.
Have you ever been dragged out of a pub by a bouncer?
Yeah.
Many times.
And it's a typical M&R. The guy that dragged you out of a pub is an M&R.
There's an M&R printer. Prints on an M&R.
The guy that brings you into toilets to give you a good deal, that's usually a rock.
Yeah. And he goes like this, he goes.
Oh dear. And the guy that shows you the wine list, that's the MHM guy.
That's a very
bit more sophisticated
way of
That's the three guys in a pub
describing
across expressed as machinery.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, the M&R has been known across the industry to be very powerful. Can bend a squeegee in half. Will force a pallet down away from itself. And sometimes it's too easy to use that.
Turn it up, essentially.
Yeah. To play it safe. Sometimes we play it safe.
But that is not like, let's just do M&R. Let's not do M&R a disservice. That is not a downfall of the machine. That is a downfall of this skill. Even though a lot of M&R printers will bend the bastard squeegee over the ink through, it's not because the machine is limited
No.
to that.
No.
It's just
it will
practice
do
for us.
finesse. And conversely, you actually need more skill because I don't know. You saw the precision adjustment tool.
Yeah.
Every
Rubber
hammer comes
hammer.
with a steel hammer because there's no other way to move the back of the screen left and right. And to move
annoying.
everything properly on them now, we must undo the back clamp. Same on the rock. The only way to move it without breaking the aluminium frame is to undo the back clamp. So you've got your front clamp free floating and you can twist it and move it, and then it's down to your skill. Well, it's fucking hard.
So what you're saying is people are just tapping it instead?
So it's just much easier to just tap the fucker and move it half a tap, and that skill level is superb. And I used to set up with a hammer. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never used a hammer. Okay, no, I didn't even know that back clamp unclamped until about 5 years ago. I just tie the fucker down and hit the fucker. Yeah, for years. And the old precision hydraulics, they didn't even have a moving clamp at all. All the screens were in one frame that went up and down like that. All 8 in one frame, one squeegee speed, no adjustment. Everything was tapped with a hammer.
Wow.
Which is it's a higher skill level required to do that than to turn a knob or to press a button.
I've been emailing about a MNR this morning. I'll send you it. I don't fancy. I don't want a hammer. I don't want hammer registration. I'm not going to lie.
It's not the same as what you've got now.
No, I have not. Is it though? I don't have any bother registering with knobs on back.
But flip it round. So you've got your knobs on back. So all I'm going to do is give you another clamp on the front.
Oh yeah. To me, that sounds like a better option because it's more solid in place. And I'm just looking. One of the things I'm most looking forward to, and it sounds a bit simple, this, doesn't it? Is going from that to completely horizontal, adjacent the print palette.
Yeah,
because of that causes issues.
Incredible.
Obviously, you set that, but you have to set that every time you register a job, and there's no indication that they're all the same. You're just doing it by eye, or you're using a quid coin or whatever. Yeah. But on an auto, it's precision set. Yeah. It's a number on a dial, which I'm looking forward to. What were we talking about, apart from the hammer?
Glue.
Now then. So, I have to eat my words a little bit, don't I? Because on
print grip,
one of the chat boards, which me and Tony partake in. I say me and Tony. I haven't partaked in it in a little while. Seems a bit quiet at the minute. Hopefully everybody's okay. But anyway, and now the conversation of Spider-Man jizz spray tack came up, and I happen to have tried this particular brand in a spray can, an aerosol can. And I thought it was okay. I was quite impressed until I did a run of sweatshirts, and it all stuck to underside at fleece, and I had L on trying to remove it. So from that point, I was like, no, this is shit. Chucked it in. Well, I didn't chuck it in bin, so I'm a bit tight for that. But anyway, it ended up in the corner somewhere. And I wrote it off, and somebody in group asked just after this conversation. And I said, no, it's shite, don't bother, get rid of it. Anyway, they bought it anyway, but what they bought was the like the little gas canister.
Gas tub, yeah.
With a proper like airspray gun. And apparently he loves it. Yeah. So I
get exactly the same result. It's Marmite. It's what you call a Marmite reaction. Nobody thinks it's all right. Everybody thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread, or they fucking hate it. I saw a guy up in. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, where the fuck was I? Manchester.
Is this the video you sent me up local? It just has it.
It just has it perfect, yeah. And he just got it running absolutely spot on. I ain't got a fucking stop part one. I ain't got a fucking clue what he was doing. But he just got it absolutely perfect where he laid it on. It's in my favourites. It's that good. It's in my favourites. I've probably disappeared. Have I disappeared from you?
No, you're still here.
Still here?
Don't you worry.
Well, I'm not.
You are on my screen.
Gesture blocking over. Oh, there's a lot of stuff happening in the background.
No idea what that means. Gesture blocking. So every time I do that, it pixelates it.
Oh, it's not doing it.
No, all I can see is like the photos icon. How strange. Send me it. Have you got it on your phone? And I'll just odd my phone up. Or you could just odd your phone up, I guess. That'd cut out a couple of steps, wouldn't it? Check out that lean floodway. How do you like that one, Corey?
Basically, just to finish off and summarise what we were saying, finding the right glue can solve shitloads of problems. Everybody loves the water-based glue. People love the print grip that you trialled.
Yes,
I'm getting good reports on it still.
Honestly, I recommend, at the very least, give it a go. And if you don't like it, you don't like it.
I'm still getting good reports on it. Certainly from the environmental guys who are really concerned about that and not really concerned about speed and faff.
Yeah, definitely.
And the good old-fashioned spray mount is great for sweats. It's just bad for the machine, bad for the environment, bad for the turtles, bad for the dolphins, bad for the people, in that order.
Oh, watch this. Do you like this?
Hang on, I'll share my screen with you.
No, I'm not going to risk it. Oh,
Turtles and dolphins.
Great. Mum and Dad's just been
in Brit.
Just been out on boat. Yeah.
SeaWorld.
No, just out here. Literally just on the road. It's so common now. I was sat on pier the other day watching them first thing in the morning. So common. Yeah. It's crazy how the world's changing because dolphins in Brit. It's a common sight now.
Yeah. It's the,
anyway, yeah,
the new Miami. Yeah.
Yeah. So they thank you for not using spray glue.
Yeah.
You
say thanks. Yeah. Yeah, so
also double-sided.
Double-sided's there, but again, it's this
serves a purpose.
It's how difficult is it? Yeah. I've got an upcoming exhibition in Belgium where I'm going to do some water-based printing, and I'm just now deciding water-based adhesive or that double-sided tack. I quite like that double-sided tack for an exhibition because it's clean. And if I need to refresh, I just put glue on top of it.
Oh, you do, yeah.
So I quite like it. It's all right. The PMI stuff, double-sided. If you're doing less, if you're not doing shitloads of prints, then it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
If you're doing lots
I've adopted it again.
It can get high maintenance if you're doing shitloads of prints. And for hoodies, still back to
no. Yeah, go back to glue. I've adopted it again. I used to use it a while ago, and I just really like it. And I sort of forgot about it, to be honest. Went back to spray for some reason. I guess it was expensive, so I thought I'm going to cut. I must have been cutting corners at the time and went back to adhesive. And I forgot how effective it is for my shop. It's sort of pretty suitable for my shop because it is all short runs, and especially for things like chest badges and stuff like that. You just cut a little strip off, put it on, blast out your chest badge, rip it off, start fresh.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, good shit. But the Spider-Man jizz, same sort of thing, innit? Just have to test it and try it, see how it goes. Because if it's a Marmite product, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just to see how it goes.
So many different products on market now. Finding the right ones is difficult, and finding the right one, it's hard to go on recommendations because what works in one shop doesn't work in another. Emulsions are a fantastic example of this. I famously put some Sarti PHU in one shop, and they said it was the best thing since sliced bread. They were getting 10,000 runs on water-based, no breakdown. So, that's good. I'll put it into the shop next door. There's a shop sort of down the road, and on the same road, same postal address.
Wow.
And put it in there. They said it was shit. Couldn't get 100 shirts out of it. Absolute crap. Don't bring that stuff anywhere near again. Yeah. So it's not the acidity of the water. It's the humidity, the way that they stretch, the way that they print, the way that they coat. All these myriad of little different things.
When you look at,
you can buy about 135 different emulsions.
Wow, really? That many?
So finding which emulsions for you. You've got to do some testing. Just got to do some testing. and find one that works for you, not what the fucking salesman says. They were using an emulsion from Photochem, which I think is a Sati product, and it was specifically designed to resist water-based, especially discharge. And the only time it broke down was discharge.
Was it purple?
Yes.
Isn't that strange?
And it gave a sweat mark around where the tape is. A horrible sweat mark. And it broke down after about 10 pieces. You can't see it until it's too fucking late and it's on 200.
You're talking about like the edge at tape, and then you get halfway through and it's like, why is this fucking line appearing? What causes that? Isn't it a bastard?
It's a sweat mark. So the glue is water-based.
And it's absorbed.
And there's a little bit of water coming through the emulsion, melting the glue. The glue runs, and then you've got a sticky line of half glue, half activated discharge, and you get this pale line. Yeah, it's fucking.
It's horrible. A bugger, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
I've noticed that myself when I've used discharge. You get to like 100 print steep, and you're like, why the fuck are my veg marks showing up?
Yeah.
And if it's a black shirt, just get a sharpie out. But
done that. Guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. Snap. Saved a job.
Yeah.
What can you do? Yeah, I don't know. Shall we have a little catch up with our mate Auntie Moire?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because she keeps poking her head up. She got mentioned in images this week. So.
Oh really? I have got it sat downstairs. I've just not read it yet.
By me.
Getting all of it, shop.
Still don't know what it is. I think I know what it is, but
I actually had this idea of getting, Guess Who? You flick them down. And then printing out all the print shops that we know on each one. And then every episode we're like, right, here are the clues. So it can't be this bloke with Dash.
I think you should. I think it's definitely a little Geordie.
Yeah, that seems to be our latest suspicion, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but we've had suspicions before of being fucking wrong.
I've been all the way around, to be honest. Right, I've got to be careful here because Auntie Moire has turned into a pen pal, and we've had conversations, just like full-on email conversations at this point. I don't even know what it is. So let me read out one that isn't there.
But you've given them your credit card details, your telephone number, and that's why you're getting called on broadband now.
Apparently don't work for XNL. God.
Is that Danny? I'm Auntie Moire from KCOM. We'd like to talk to you about your broadband provider.
Oh, God. Where are we? Fucking hell, this is hard work. I wish I'd have pre-planned this.
I thought you had.
Through my emails. No,
I thought that was all this about.
I put in my notes an Auntie Moire, but I didn't get the Auntie Moire out.
Right. I got asked about Moire in Romania, and I wanted to pull Auntie Moire out of my back pocket, and I thought it just wouldn't have translated well.
No. Dearest boys, I trust that the heat wave has been boiling up those orders and consults around the world for you both. My time by the beach at Costa del Muchos has come to an end, and I am glad to be back burning some screens as opposed to burning my arms and legs. But you won't find any Moire patterns there. Ha 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 ha. Outside of spending a gazillion spondyloonies, I don't know what the hell that means, on a CTS system, what would you say is the best way to register film on screens to make it easy to register screens on a press? We use a wooden-based template with a piece of Corex with pen markings on for the centre. We lay the film down on the Corex with sellotape and slot the screen into the wooden template. Is there something else I could do to make things easier, or is it better to just bite the bullet and go CTS? Thanks for all the commentary on dip tanks in the last show. I learned a lot. I look forward to putting my slippers on and snuggling into a warm blanket with a cup of cocoa and Dribbles, my pussy, that is a cat, to keep me company while I listen to my boys on the interweb.
When you play that back.
Be mature. I didn't say it. It won't be.
So, you're probably already doing the most efficient way that you can do. So we're guessing manual printer.
Do you know what? No, I'm pretty sure they've mentioned the fact that they've got autos, at least 8 auto and a manual.
judging by that method screams of a manual printer. It goes back to the one I saw in America. It goes back to the one that Sarah built on her wall. It's very close to what you've got.
It's the reverse of what I've got.
Yeah.
They sit a screen on top. I turn mine upside down and sit it in, type of thing.
Yeah. So it's
Same
very,
thing,
very
isn't it?
similar. All of the systems need a reference point. When you're using a reference point that is movable, like the edge of the screen, just be prepared that you're going to get in the same sort of area. You're not going to get pre-reg. The only way to get pre-reg spot on is to take away the movable bit, the variable, which is the frame edging, and use a pin system. Everybody knows I love MHM, but it is the most accurate method. Get away from using. I'll give you, for instance, where I was last week. They use Trilock, which is three places, a 3-point system, and they make all the screens, and then the screens go to be taped, and the tape gets wrapped around the edges, and the tape gets wrapped around the edges right where the Trilock is.
Yeah.
So there's no possible way that using that same Trilock edge
It's going to be identical.
now has got 2 pieces or 3 pieces of thickness of tape on it, which you might not think is a lot, but when you're trying to line up a white base with a red print on top, it is a lot. Yeah. And then you get to the point where you're like, I'm going to have to hit it with a fucking hammer anyway, so I might as well just not even bother taking my palette off.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma across the industry now because setup times are important now because run times are smaller.
Yeah. We're doing more jobs, more individual jobs rather than big long runs.
Yeah.
As an industry.
So it's much more important to.
Are you all right,
door, Jack? Dog's looking at somebody at the door. No. So it's much more important to get your setup times faster. We only make money when the squeegees are moving. So it's no use having a machine that prints 1,200 pieces an hour if it takes you 3 hours to get to that point to get it moving.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean,
you're already using the best system, which is basically an L-shaped piece of wood on a wall. Push the screen into the bottom. That gives you a central point. Bear in mind, if your screen size changes, your frames, then your center changes. So you've got to be careful that all your screens are the same size.
You need to work from a center point. So the most important thing is getting a center line and getting your screen or getting your image in the center of each individual screen. And then when you're on press, you're going to get somewhat like, you're not going to get bang on accurate registration, but you can get it close enough to you can
in the
tweak
ballpark.
it left or right, and it will save you a lot of headache. Just using a ruler method, I found they were just it's slow. A ruler's slow, and I feel like so on a manual. Another good idea is to have a counterpart. So having a jig, and there's different ways you can build a jig. You'll just come up with your own idea, whether it's set on a wall or whether you drop a screen onto a piece in the middle, or whatever. That'll be your first part, and then the second part is something that sits on your print palette. Now, what I've got, or what I'm building as my part B, is an acrylic sheet that sits on my print palette with the centre markings, etc., printed on. I'm having it to the thickness of off contact. So when I put my screens in place, I'm dropping them down, getting them on my reg marks, but not only that, I'm setting me off contact, both sides, to the thickness of the acrylic sheet, and that just gives me a good starting point. It don't fix. It's not a registration system, but it makes my life a hell of a lot difference for having a fairly consistent, close starting point every time, as opposed to just chucking a screen in, pissing about with reg marks until I get them lined up in the middle. Anyway, that would be my suggestion on a manual. On an auto,
the one up from that, the one in between a piece of wood and a CTS is the sort of like the tri-lock system using pins. So you carrier sheets and films, and carrier sheets and pins. But there's some time and some skill involved in that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it gets you close enough to trust it, which means that you're spending more time to get to 90%, whereas your piece of wood costs you less time, and you still get to 90%.
Yeah.
So for me, the wooden L shape is better because we're trying to get rid of a twist. Get rid of the twist and get everything within the movement area of your micros up and down. So
yeah.
Get rid of the twist, which is the L shape, and within, let's say the average micros extension is 40mm, inch and a half. Then as long as we're within inch and a half, because there's nothing worse than getting to the fourth screen and realising it's set at the wrong cross.
Yeah,
and you have to reset every fucking thing to move it back up or down because you've run out of adjustment.
I think that's the key ingredient, and which is why I say work off a centre line. Because if you register a 6-colour job, and let's just say some of your images are like that, some of your images are like that, you get them on press and you get them both on centre line, but the screens are twisted slightly different in each jig, and it causes problems. It cause registration problems, and you don't. Yeah. It's hard to see. You can't really see it with your eye because it can be very minute. You know what I mean? So the importance really on a manual is just getting it centered, crack that, and then obviously you're going to get your image in relatively the same place on the screen, height wise, every time. But you're not going to get it nailed. But if you can just get that center mark as your priority, you'll have an easier time registering screens.
Yeah.
And also off content.
Remove the twist. Get your off contact solid. Remove your twist and get within at least 5mm of your other screens, your other frames.
Off contact can be a right deal breaker. I don't know how much people realise that how important off contact is, because you can, and it's strange as well, because you can set your press and you think it's level. You think you've got your off contact the exact same. But if you've sort of set on a manual, if you set your screen height on one really high, but then you've counterbalanced it so that they're both at the same site, but they're coming from two mechanical different points.
Yeah,
and you look at it and you're
so it throws the front
exactly
of the screen. And one is the resting point. So the resting point and the throw are different. So we can change the throw but keep the resting point. Or we can change the resting point and keep the throw.
That's exactly what I try to describe. And you don't really it's very hard to see. It's hard to see that. And you can be registering a job and you're like, the off contact's fine. They're touching reg marks, but when I'm printing it, it's off. Why? And it can often be that. So this is why I wish manuals have 0 points on everything. Your registration knobs, nozzles. On the Anatole. Yeah, Bryce, get Anatole. They have like a little crosshair, which is good. I like that. So you can sort of get it back to 0 every time.
I was a crosshair as well, a target.
All right.
In the middle. Most of them do, to be honest.
Yeah, whatever. But the
your least two are special. Yours doesn't.
None of them have 0 points for the tilt and the off contact.
No, because it's dependent on when the
rate off.
It's when the press is built. That's why. I mean, we go back and we used to put shims underneath the screen.
Right, really? Oh yeah, like glue sellotape a quid coin.
Yeah, so
I did that when I first started.
Where the clamp goes, and you put your screen in there, we would put pennies or 2 pennies underneath here to build up, and that was the only way we could do it. Yeah, we don't.
So I used to do it when I first started printing. I used to think off contact was set by sellotaping some quid coins into each corner of the screen. So when it sat on pallet,
actually physically on the mesh.
Yeah, I used to do that. What a dickhead! And then I used to.
You live and learn.
Well, you learn. Look at this is it. I mean, this was last year, but it was when I first started. But the clamps as well. A lot of the bolts are rounded, so I had to wedge a piece of squeegee blade on top of the screen frame. So when I tightened it, it actually grab.
Yeah, and to stop it, it stops it twisting that as well.
Does it actually? I never knew that.
Yeah, it stops it. Because when you go like that, it grabs metal on metal twist. So you put a rubber in
Yeah, you
between.
start to dent it, don't you?
Stops it twisting. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
never thought of that.
then when you tap it with a hammer, you move it against the rubber, and then slowly it comes back.
It brings it back, yeah.
So you think the press is moving out of reg. Well, all that's happening is you forced it under tension, and the first
And
three
it's just
prints are all
relaxed
right,
back.
or even worse, the first three prints look crap, and then it moves into reg.
I am actually. Oh, yeah, now then. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I have never, ever used an hammer on a screen.
Good. You don't need to.
So.
If you do, something's wrong, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, apparently not. Apparently this is a super common thing because you keep finding shops with hammers.
Every shop with an M&R's got a hammer. Every single shop. So you ain't got an M&R, you've got an Anatole, you see. So that's why you ain't got a precision adjustment tool.
Right. Well, let that be a lesson to you all. So, Tony, how are you and others dealing with people using the new Pantone Plus CMYK plugin and them choosing Pantones with stupid bloody dashes in? Driving me insane having to explain why I can't guarantee hitting them. Asks Anchor End Print Shop, which I believe is in Manchester.
You can guarantee hitting them. You absolutely can, but you have to pay all your hard-earned money to Pantone. This was the subject of... Oh,
you thought just flew over your house.
Yeah, somebody's robbed a dirt bike. It's just the same dirt bike that everybody just robs from a different garage every night.
Yeah, just the village bike.
Yeah. What's her name?
KTM.
Oh, I'm giving you that one.
Whoosh,
I am giving you that one, absolutely. Fucking hell, 3 hours in, you wake up.
No, I'm trying, mate, I'm trying. I've drunk enough piss now, it's kicking in.
I think you're just renting it, if I'm honest. I don't think you're buying it. I think you're just renting it.
It's a recycled system, isn't it? It's a bit like Bryce's squeegee cleaning system.
It's more like Bear Grylls.
Yeah. So, yeah, Pantones.
I'm in trouble.
Oh, gosh. I'll be after that run, won't it? Still not recovered.
Yeah, I've just written an article for Images. It's out next month, about this very same thing. Colour communication was very simple. It did work really well. Sure, we could. We always got the guy who brought us the home interior booklet instead of the Pantone booklet or the textile
dual cards.
Yeah, the TC card, the TC brand. There's more than one Pantone book. Yeah, there's all sorts of different ones because Pantone are obsessed with making money at the minute. They've gone down the licensing route, and there's nothing we can do. There isn't another one we can change to. It's not like just everybody will stop using it and start using Tone Pan, because there just isn't one. They've been firmly cemented as the market leader of colour communication for the last 50 years, and now we're fucked. They've got us by the short and danglers, and if they say you've got to buy a new book every 3 months, you've got to buy one. If they say they're not putting their colours into Adobe, that's it. I did a little bit of research to find out, did Adobe drop Pantone or did Pantone drop Adobe?
Apparently it was a mutual... They couldn't reach an agreement.
Yeah, the general consensus is they both fell out. One didn't agree with one's licensing model and one didn't agree with the accuracy of the colours.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, so Pantone said that Adobe's replication of the colours did not meet their accuracy standards.
Wow.
So they proper threw shade.
Sounds like a bit of a negotiating tool, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know.
And then, obviously, Adobe said they didn't like the licensing technique. So it went forwards and backwards for a long time, and eventually they parted ways. And the only way you can get Pantone integrated now is to buy Pantone Connect, I think it's called, or Pantone Bridge or something. So which is, the 50 quid a month
your old
for
colour
Adobe.
swatches.
Import your old one, save them as a colour library now, yeah. Now, the things I did see when I was reading it was that the ones that they'll leave untouched is the process, is the Pantone Plus U and C. They're going to leave those untouched.
Why?
I don't know. But
And what does
probably because they're the most popular.
Right. Well, so it shouldn't really affect us then. If
But
we live
this
in
is a
Pantone C,
very quick
does it matter?
old man search of the internet. So
Yeah.
it probably needs looking into some more depth. But every statement that I could see was up to November 2022, they were leaving alone the two most popular, which was Pantone Plus C and Pantone Plus U.
Well, maybe it's not an issue. But obviously it is because somebody's just asked. So, low cure ink. Low cure ink.
Okay.
Cures through the dryer at a little bit less of a temperature than your typical plastisol or high solid acrylic, around 165-ish.
Yeah.
Why is that not standard? Why at this point of time, considering the emphasis on being dolphin friendly, is all ink not developed to be cured at 130, let's just say for argument's sake, therefore significantly cutting energy consumption, and well, that's it really, isn't it?
We
Why
go
is it
down
not
to a
standard?
very, very simple metric. Super simple.
Costs more to make.
Yeah. It's an additive. To make an ink low cure, we add low cure additive. So we add another ingredient. Adding another ingredient costs more money. Simple as. So low cure ink is not the be all and end all that we think it is. It also, I've used some low cure PVC free, all singing, all dancing, but still made from solvents ink. And it does tick all the boxes. It does use less energy. It doesn't kill the turtles and dolphins.
It's not a good ink.
It's fucking terrible to print with. It's horrible. Right. It's sticky. It turns into orange peel when you print it. It looks nasty. It smells awful. We don't want to be forced to a screen. Right. And so we go back to even the spray analogy, the discharge analogy, all these different things, the screen cleaner analogy. The best screen cleaner is the worst for the environment. We make it better for the environment. We make it worse, the screen cleaner. The best spray is worse for the environment. We make it good for the environment. We make it into a bad spray. And the best ink, it's superb straight out of the tub plastisol. We make it better for the environment. We make it into a bad ink. And that's the main underlying reason why the low cure is not the standard. Expense.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was just an idea. Just me trying to save the planet.
On your own.
Yeah, well, this is a weight I have to bear on my shoulders. Right.
Well, when you go back out to pier, you and Danny's Dolphin Club can get together and say, look, I've tried, guys, but Tony's just not having it. I've tried, guys, Tony's just not having it. He wants his 165. Fucking stubborn old bastard. He's melting old tyres down to make them into ink in back garden.
Well, I'm going to suggest we say goodbye.
We wrap it up.
And I think we had a nice episode, didn't we? We had a good catch up.
Episode,
Is there anything that you need to tell me that we've not discussed? Is there anything that pops up?
Like I have a plan, Danny. Do you think I have a plan?
You don't have a plan. But
I don't have a plan.
We've not spoken in 2 weeks. Is that what else happened? How exciting?
No.
Been anywhere nice?
No. New York, Romania, that's it. South Dakota, saw some bulls, saw some groundhogs. That's it.
Standard.
Yeah.
When are you next on road?
I've got 2 weeks at home. So,
thank fuck for
not
that.
at home. I'm still working. Still working in England.
But will you drive back every day, or?
I think a couple. I've got one in London, so that's probably a stay overnight. Going to one of the biggest print shops in the UK.
All right. Where are they based?
In the middle of the country.
Leicester?
Yeah. And then I'm going to a little startup down in London. I'm going to the place I've been to before in Liverpool. And again, a startup, changing staff. And then I'm trying not to book anything for a couple of weeks. Then I go to Belgium, returning customer in Belgium. And then I'm doing this thing for PAL's screen print, which is a Benelux distributor supplier, and that'll be in collaboration with Magna Colours. So,
Oh, bless.
yeah,
So he's going.
I don't know. It's a sign company. It's a sign show, so probably not. But,
Oh, right.
I'm trying to get a nice little 8-colour tonal job, Magna,
Nice and easy.
based. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying. I know what Magna likes. So I'm stopping and putting gold, foil, puff, expanding, 3D, H, and shimmer all on the same print. So
Both the sleeves and
we'll
everything.
just go on the strength of the print instead.
Did you see the little print that Magna did where they put all of their whites in like the same little graphic?
Really like that. That was
Cool,
really
isn't it? I
helpful.
want one.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Really
have to ask
helpful.
Teresa.
Really, really helpful, that one. Yeah. They're moving
cool,
the game
isn't
up
it?
a little bit now, yeah.
They're quite innovative with a little... Because we've done another one with... I think we've done some special effects ones, and it's just a right good idea. Incorporate all into one design.
Yeah.
And I guess we send them out, I guess. I don't know.
Need to do some more. I need to get my hands on that self-leveling stuff. I don't know what it's like yet.
That's funny you should say that, because I'm going to be sliding in Teresa's DMs, because I want a little pot. I'm due to order V2, my barrel of V2, and I thought I would like to try leveling to consider using that as a standard white as opposed to V2.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to order a barrel worth, I need to sort of know that, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll give that a go.
Yeah, well, I'll be interested to know that. I might come over and watch you with that, because I'm here for the next 2 weeks.
Hey, episode 56.
It's a wrap.
Not best. It's a rap. I can't do that. That little accent.
Well, it's been a long time since you said a proper rara, though, isn't it?
Say Tony Tiger. Say Tony Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
Right, enjoyed that, Tony. Thank you. On that bombshell, as Tony would say.
On that bombshell, let's wrap it up. Thank you very much for listening, watching, contributing, donating money, sending us your old whatever.
Who's chuffing donating money? I've not seen none of that yet. Slipping it in your back pocket.
It was a
Danny.
preemptive strike. Now I've got somebody at door now. So, without further ado, I'll see
this is such Chippy Tea. Hot best, Civi.
Somebody do it.
I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.